Sometimes, no matter how much you care about someone, it's inevitable that they'll ignore you, misunderstand you, or even dismiss you. You try to explain yourself. You fill even your silence with love, but you find no response. And the most painful thing is that, at some point, you still secretly continue to care about someone who doesn't care about you. It's at that very moment you should remember the power within you. Because in this story, what will be decisive is not how they treated you, but how you return to yourself. The most direct answer you can give to someone who doesn't value you is not with words, but with attitude. In this video, you will find the most effective moves to make someone who ignores you realize what they have lost. If you're ready, let's begin. Point 1. When you meet, be extremely calm and self-assured. When you meet them again, appear as if you have completely left the emotional turmoil of the past behind. Carry no trace of anger or a look of reproach. Stand silently, but upright. This calmness is actually a natural result of calming your inner storms and turning back to yourself. Have a presence that says a lot without speaking. You are no longer demanding anything. You have no expectations. You just exist. And this state of existence hits them in the face, like a slap, with the value they dismissed. When you make eye contact, don't avoid it, but don't show unnecessary warmth either. Look at them as you would a stranger. This neutral but self-assured stance is the clearest way of saying, I don't care if you see me or not. The truly striking thing is this. The person who ignored you in the past now confronts your indifference. This makes them uncomfortable because your lack of interest makes them feel a loss of value. They were once used to your attention. Now your indifference makes them feel your absence. Let your posture, clothes, tone of voice, and words be simple but effective. Speak briefly and concisely, but not rudely. Just be distant, because you are now in control of your emotions. The person who once affected you should now seem to have no effect on you whatsoever. This state of being makes them wonder, what has changed? Their inability to talk to you as before and to approach you as closely as before makes them uneasy deep down. The most effective revenge is elegant, not flashy. Your calm but strong presence makes them realize how valuable the person they underestimated actually is. Remember, a person is most shaken by the indifference of the person whose interest they lost. And when you are no longer shaken, and you no longer need anyone else's approval, a person who lost you truly understands for the first time what they lost. By the way, if you like this video and subscribe to our channel, you will be supporting me in the most effective way. 2. In shared social circles, appear distant but strong. The social circle you used to spend time with together sometimes acts as a mirror that reminds you of that person. This mirror is sometimes an advantage and sometimes a shadow of the past. This is precisely why you should now show yourself in those environments in a more controlled, more measured way. Be there always, but never be overly visible. Act as if you just dropped by, not to have fun or spend time. Leave a brief, concise, but impressive presence. This attitude leads those who value you to perceive you as mysterious but strong. Don't pour your heart out to mutual friends. Don't tell old stories. Don't act resentful. Show that you don't need any explanation and that you have healed, not suppressed, your hurts. Because sometimes power is hidden in not speaking. Being a subject of curiosity is more effective than explaining yourself. Everyone questions the reason for your distant stance within themselves. Those who know them begin to weigh their attitude against your silence. In this way, you make the other person's shortcomings visible without saying a thing. In those environments, you are now the person who no longer talks about them or even mentions their name. Because true power is not established by ignoring them, but by making their existence ordinary. Now, act as if they are not even a topic in your life. Along with this, your smile, your upright posture, and your healthy communication with other people change how they see you. You are no longer someone associated with another person, but someone associated with yourself. Remember, in shared circles, you are not someone trying to win them back, but someone protecting their own space. This stance both shows your boundaries and makes it even more visible why they lost you. Because people are most shaken when they can't reach a person they used to be able to reach, and when they see their value in the eyes of others again. This distant but strong state of yours becomes your way of rebuilding yourself, not them. And this is always the most effective answer. 3. Cut off all interest. Withdraw completely. Cutting off interest is not just ending communication. It is building a wall so they can no longer affect you as they used to. You're no longer messaging. You're not following them on social media. You're not wondering about them. Because you are truly standing in front of someone you have lost interest in. This is not just a visible break, but a heartfelt one. You're not even asking, "How are you?" Because you have realized they don't deserve that interest, and that someone who ignores you is not worthy of your attention. And now that awareness has been put into action, withdrawing is not giving up, as most people assume. On the contrary, it is the clearest way of saying, "I deserve more." You now understand much better that by directing your attention to them when they ignored you, you are diminishing yourself. Now you have taken back the reins. As you withdraw, the bonds you formed with that person unravel, and each unraveling frees you a little more. You are now turning your attention to yourself, not to them. Your withdrawal leaves them alone with an emptiness, because the interest they once constantly felt is no longer there. Everyone feeds a little on attention. The feeling of someone who is used to being fed by yours when that interest is cut off is a sense of emptiness. And this emptiness is sometimes more instructive than words. They get lost in your silence, because the most effective answer to someone who underestimates you is for you to no longer say anything, do anything, or hope for anything. Remember, withdrawing is not giving up the fight. It's taking your energy back from a place that doesn't deserve it and directing it toward yourself. You are no longer the same person to someone who doesn't see you. This is not a disappearance, but a rebirth within yourself. When you pull back your light, the light in their life also diminishes. And then they realize their darkness began when they extinguished your light. 4. Appear strong and positive on social media. Social media is no longer just a place for sharing, but a showcase where people express their emotions, their strengths, and even their vulnerabilities. And on this showcase, you are now present with a strong, confident, and positive image. Before, you might have made posts thinking they would see them. Now, you exist by focusing on your life without caring if they see you. This difference is a sign that you have started spending your energy on yourself, not on them. And this new energy is felt very clearly from the outside. You now have an attractive, but not artificial light. A photo of you smiling. An event you attended. In short, your joyful state gives the person who underestimated you the feeling, "It seems they're quite happy without me." But when they ignored you, they probably imagined you as weak, incomplete, and even helpless. Now, they see someone who is having new experiences, connecting with new people, and participating in life. This image makes them face their biggest misconception. However, while showing is power, the most important detail is to be genuine and balanced. Instead of overly exaggerated, attention-seeking posts, project a simple but effective state of happiness. Everything you share should carry the message, "I'm moving on and I'm fine." This positive energy reaches not only them, but also everyone who genuinely loves you. And this puts you in a more valuable position, not only in their eyes, but in your entire circle. People notice strength, but elegant strength always commands more respect. Your positivity makes their shortcomings even more visible. Because people start to question themselves most when they watch a life being enjoyed from a place they were excluded from. Your happiness is the clearest answer to their indifference. This is not anger. It's a message that says, I'm no longer interested in you, but I'm interested in life. And this message quietly makes its way into the heart. Remember, sometimes just showing the life you're living says more than all the words you could say. 5. Invest in yourself. Appearance, career, exercise. Removing someone from your life is sometimes not a physical decision, but an energetic transformation. And the most visible way to achieve this transformation is by investing in yourself. When you look in the mirror, you should no longer see a tired face, but a determined expression. Taking care of your appearance, a new hairstyle, a renewed wardrobe, or just the uprightness of your posture are all signs of your rebirth. The best answer to someone who made you feel worthless is to start making yourself feel valuable. True power is created not just when you invest in your appearance, but when you also start investing in your career, your mind, and your body. Starting a new course, setting a goal, chasing an achievement, these are not just things to show others, but a rebuilding of self-respect and self-confidence. And as you do this, the person who ignored you realizes you have risen to a level they can no longer reach. Because you haven't just changed, you have evolved. Starting to exercise is not just about looking fit. It's about gaining discipline and keeping the promise you made to yourself. When you wake up in the morning to go for a walk, you are not raising your value to a person, but to yourself. As you get stronger, not just your body, but also your attitude changes. The person in front of you can no longer underestimate you, because your energy has changed. And remember, people often notice energy, not words. Your new self makes you noticeable even when you're silent. At the end of all these investments, the person who lost you realizes they didn't just lose you, but also your potential. While you were once a person in need of their attention, you are now a person in love with your own potential. And this state affects them more than they think. Because now, to affect you, it's not enough to gain your interest. To reach you, they first have to rise to your level. And most people remain in the same place, unable to reach this new level. 6. Acknowledge the harm they caused you, but neutralize its effect. Healing often begins not with denial, but with confrontation. Denying someone who hurt you, acting as if they didn't exist, or just trying to suppress it with anger, causes the wound to deepen. However, you are no longer ignoring this harm. You are accepting it. You say, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was broken. Yes, I didn't get the attention I expected. But the sentence that follows makes the real difference. But it no longer hurts me. This is where power begins. Acknowledging the harm, but not letting it define you. This acceptance doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, it makes you stronger. Because instead of fighting your feelings and getting exhausted, you now embrace and transform them. The things that once hurt you when you thought of them are now just experiences. You don't suppress your feelings, but you don't get lost in them either. In this way, the effect of the person who hurt you slowly begins to fade. You now exist not with what they did to you, but with the good you have done for yourself. This attitude is an unexpected result for the other person, because someone who hurts you often thinks you'll stay in that pain forever. But when you both accept your wound and don't allow them to control you, you show that ignoring you has a bigger price than they thought. Your quiet recovery is the greatest answer from within, because you are now defined not by the damage they inflicted, but by your own power to heal. Ultimately, this harm ceases to be a label that defines you and turns into an experience that makes you grow. Now, when you remember that person, you feel distance, not anger. This is the simplest and most noble way of saying, they no longer have an effect on me. This spiritual space you give yourself not only heals you, but carries you to another level. Because sometimes forgiving is not about letting the other person go, but about freeing yourself. And you are now in that freedom. 7. Move on without waiting for an apology or regret. Some people hurt you and then continue their lives as if nothing happened. And you wait for that person to one day realize what they did, apologize, or even feel regret. This expectation begins to hold you captive. But now you are cutting this tie. You are no longer waiting for their understanding or their change of heart, because their apology or lack thereof should not stop your progress. Their late awakening cannot steal your time. This attitude not only frees you, but also takes you to a wiser place. This is the most noble way of saying, I saw what you did. I understood it internally, and I no longer expect the value I deserve from you. Not waiting doesn't mean forgetting. It just means not putting that person at the center of your life anymore. Adjusting yourself according to their delayed awareness would condemn you to worthlessness. But now, what determines your value is not what they think, but what you do for yourself. If an apology comes, it might be a beautiful closure, but if it doesn't, you won't be left incomplete, because you have found closure within yourself. This means the person across from you can no longer control you. Your quiet departure, your moving on, first creates surprise and then discomfort in the person across from you, because you are now at a point where regret or making amends won't work. You are experiencing a renewal that exists not through their apology, but through your own stance. And this attitude creates a much bigger impact over time, because true power is not still waiting for someone who hurt you, but being able to leave them behind without saying a word. When you move on, you will see your burdens lighten. And maybe for the first time, your life, not theirs, is moving faster. In this progress, you are strong not because you didn't give them a place, but because you made a place for yourself. This is the most effective answer. A silent but clear declaration of freedom. 8. Mentally turn to yourself completely. Getting stuck on someone mentally is like inviting them back into your life every day. Sometimes, even if you don't talk at all, you keep weighing them in your mind, trying to understand why they did what they did, and even thinking about when they will regret it. This is an exhausting cycle. You are now putting a stop to this cycle. You are slowly pulling your thoughts away from that person and turning them toward your own inner peace. Because a true breakup happens not by deleting messages, but by removing them from your mind and making space for yourself. This transformation doesn't happen in a day, but it starts with awareness. Now, the first person you think of when you wake up in the morning is not them, but the question, what can I do for myself today? You are listening to your inner voice more than external stimuli. Maybe you're meditating, or maybe you're just allowing silence. But now your mind is occupied not with the question, why did this happen? But with the question, what can I do now? This takes you out of a victim mentality and into a creative state of mind. Mentally turning to yourself also means giving up on waiting for others to approve or love you. You are now giving yourself your own approval. The moment you can say, I am enough, I am valuable, I am complete, any feeling of worthlessness from the outside becomes ineffective. This makes you emotionally independent. Now, nothing, not a person, a message, or a memory can shake you. Because if the mind is determined, you will remain standing even if the world falls apart. And over time, you will realize that as you turn to yourself mentally, you can think more clearly and feel more free. That person is now just a part of the past, and you are building your future in your own light, not in their shadow. This is a silent but very powerful victory, because you have now freed not only your emotions, but your thoughts as well. And mental freedom is the most solid ground for emotional strength. 9. Show that you don't care about their indifference. Someone's indifference hurts. Because being ignored makes you feel like your existence is being devalued. But the real secret of the matter lies in reversing this attempt at devaluation. You now make that person feel that whether they see you or not has no effect on you. You don't text them. You don't even look at them out of the corner of your eye. You don't make a snide remark. You don't give an explanation, because you no longer care about them. You care about yourself. And that's when someone who ignores you feels what it's like to be ignored for the first time. This attitude is not a flashy reaction, but a quiet stance. Maybe you don't wait for a response to a social media post. Maybe you don't even make eye contact in a shared environment. But you are doing this not with anger, but with a clear lack of interest. Their indifference no longer creates a disturbance in you, because your inner balance is so strong that their apathy cannot disrupt your emotional frequency. This also makes you appear surprisingly changed, even in their eyes. The real effect of this attitude emerges over time. People are usually comfortable in places where they are not cared for, but they panic when they themselves are not cared for. Your calmness completely demolishes their expectation of a reaction, because you have completely neutralized their effort to make you feel worthless. You neither show that you are thinking about them secretly, nor do you expect anything from them. This emptiness seems like a small thing to them, but with time, they begin to see their own shadow in that emptiness. And at this stage, your energy has completely changed direction. You are now spending the time you used to spend trying to figure out their attitude on improving yourself. Their interest is no longer a reward or a goal for you, because you have already put yourself at the center of your own life. Their indifference is no longer a loss, but your indifference is becoming a price they belatedly realize. This is the moment you silently win the game. 10. Discover new places. Make posts. Emphasize your freedom. One of the most powerful ways to leave someone behind is to discover new places. Because whenever you find yourself in a different atmosphere, it's not just the geography that changes, but your emotions as well. Every new place you go shakes up the old patterns in your mind. In the places you once dreamed of going with them, you are now present alone or with others. And this becomes your way of saying, I am no longer tying my dreams to someone else. Every journey is a small but clear proof of your independence. This discovery process becomes even more effective when you share it. Social media posts sometimes seem ordinary, but a photo of a landscape, a laugh, a walk that reflects your free spirit actually carries the message, I am living again. Even though this doesn't look like a direct message, it's like an invisible slap to the person who dismissed you. Because seeing you reconnecting with life when they imagined you as disconnected from life hits their misconception in the face. But these posts must be a reflection of genuine freedom, not for show. Everyone who sees genuine happiness is affected, especially someone who ignored you, because people generally realize what they lost, not when you stand still, but when you move forward. You are no longer standing still. You are trying other paths and other colors. The emptiness they left is now being filled with new scenery. This is a declaration, not just of a breakup, but of a transformation. What will be noticed over time is this. You are not just going from one place to another. You are moving from an old emotion to a new identity. With every step, you carry less of them and more of yourself. And this state of travel truly frees you. You no longer need anyone's attention, apology, or explanation, because you are a person who has rejoined your own life. And a person who shares their freedom says a lot, even in silence. 11. If they try to talk to you, don't hesitate to say you're busy. Once, you might have been the one who waited for their message for minutes. Now, when they want to talk, you say you're busy. This change may seem like a small attitude from the outside, but it is an internal revolution. Because their time no longer directs you, your time is not shaped by their demand. With this sentence, you are showing not only that you are uninterested, but more importantly, that you have your own priorities in life. Saying you're busy is not about demeaning them. It's about showing that you value yourself. This is not arrogance. It is a boundary. Because someone who ignores you often assumes you're still waiting, available. But you are no longer the person who responds immediately and shows understanding at every opportunity. Now, it's not enough for the other person to want to talk to. You also have to want to talk. When you establish this balance, the person across from you notices your transformation, not their own importance. Moreover, saying you're busy is not just a word. It's a stance. It's a simple but effective way of showing them that you have other things, other people, and other dreams in your life. This indifference shakes them more when it comes with calmness, not anger, because you are not speaking with animosity or giving an explanation. You are simply moving on your own path with a calm distance. And this state is the most disturbing answer for someone who tried to devalue you. A quiet rise. Over time, this attitude gives you real power, because you are no longer making yourself available for every conversation. You are only opening your heart, mind, and time to those who deserve it. Saying you're busy is no longer just a sign of a full schedule, but a sign of a full self. And the person who once underestimated you now has to do much more to cross this distance. But most of the time, it's already too late. You are no longer trying to prove yourself, because instead of trying to prove your worth to someone who doesn't, you are saving it for someone who truly can. You spoke with your silence, your transformation, your rebirth. Every step you took became their loss and your gain. You are now transforming into someone who sees themselves, not someone who doesn't see you. And on this journey, the greatest answer is not to return, but to move on by getting stronger. They dismissed you, but you rebuilt your own existence. That's why what they think is no longer important. What matters is how you are moving forward. If this video inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Your support is very important to create a community that grows and gets stronger together. With your comments, we can all step into a stronger journey together. As Marcus Aurelius said, find the power within yourself. Everything in the outside world is temporary.